Yes, the question you need to ask is, would you really want to get rid of your gold and silver when your currency is collapsing? Tuesday, February 13th, 2024, Maneco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. This past Sunday, during the live stream, one of you commented about Tim from Yankee Stacking. He was saying that he'd be out of the business if silver hit 30, 40, or let alone $100. And that's what I want to look at today. I'll give you my 2 cents on it. And I think it's important to look at this topic because many of you have been stacking not just gold, but silver these last few years. And I thank you again for those of you who have used my affiliates. It helps the channel, even though, like Tim said right now, most of the people coming in are selling. And I think that's a sign that things are not that great economically, that people need to sell some of their silver and gold. But it could be a contrarian indicator, who knows? I personally think it might. But before we look into what I think this is going to mean, I want to go back in history a little bit, because I think it's always important to go back in history and also understand the difference between currency and money. But first, let's go back in history, and I'm going to go back to ancient Rome. Rome seems to be really a hot topic. I think there's a meme that says, why do men always talk about the fall of the Roman Empire? And even Vladimir Putin, President Putin, talked about it in his interview with Tucker Carlson. But some of you have seen charts of the collapse of the denarius. And the collapse of the denarius, of course, is basically the collapse of the silver content of the denarius, because that was money and currency during the Roman times. Yes, the aureus was also money, the gold coin, and that lost its gold content as well. So I think that's a good way to look at it. That's how they inflated the currency. They took out a lot of the silver and created a lot more denarius with base metals. And of course, people were not stupid, and they demanded more denarius for other goods. So yeah, here's a chart, and it starts from 300 BC, and by 200 AD it started dropping the silver content, and then by 400 there was no silver content virtually in the denarius. The time zone between 400 and 500 AD, of course, was the fall of the Western Roman Empire. It wasn't the fall of Rome, really. You have to go, I think, to 1453. That was the fall of the Eastern Roman Empire, the fall of Constantinople to the Ottoman, I guess. But now I want to show you a chart that we've looked at for gold, but we can also look at it for silver. And this is more present day. And as you can see, this chart looks similar to that silver content chart from ancient times in Rome. And this is how many grams of silver you can get for one currency, $1. Of course, the Romans didn't have paper currency. And what that meant was that when the silver, their coins had no content of silver anymore, that Western Rome fell, and the Western Roman state couldn't function. So in modern day, what I think it will mean when the dollar almost has no silver content, and that's what going to 30, 40, or 100, or even $600 an ounce, the silver price means. It means that the currency has no more silver content, can't fetch any silver content. And isn't it interesting that we're seeing not just the United States, but the whole of the West now kind of collapsing, not just economically, financially, but also socially and morally. I mean, if you told me 15, 20 years ago that Russia would be, how can I say, Russia and the Russian state would make more sense than the West does now, and some of you might think that's rubbish, but just have a look at YouTube. It's really popping up topic of Americans and expats in Russia in the last week or so after that interview. And you'll see there's an exodus of people, especially people who believe in family values, going to Russia, and they're very welcome there. So I think that's what it will mean. And I'm going to come to Tim and Yankee stacking in a minute. So as you can see here by this chart, right now, $1, one currency, the paper currency, fetches just over a gram of silver, 1.3740, and it's down 96% since 1953. That's the currency, the dollar. Why 1953? Well, just because this website, FX Top, only goes back to 1953, but yeah, that's how I see it. And before we go to Tim and Yankee stacking and my take on that, just wanted to show you that prior to 1965, and that's not a very long time ago, I was born in 64, so there's still millions and millions of people that were adults back then and used silver as money and currency. And that's what people don't realize. You see, I've got 4 quarters here from before 1965, and they're all 90% silver. So that was a dollar. That's what money is, and that never changes. It's only the silver content that is, when you look at the COMEX price or the price at your local coin shop or dealer, it's not really in terms of silver. It's in terms of fiat currency. And the higher the price is, the more it means that the present day currency, the less silver there is in it. And some people might argue, well, but that's not money. Well, I would argue that it is. The last 60 years or so have been an aberration. If you have to go back 2,500, 3,000 years, and all the time silver has been money. So 60 years is nothing. It's like a little, look, if you look at a timeline, it's nothing. And I think we'll go back to using silver. Of course, some people might want to use something else, but I think eventually people will realize that is the best money or currency for everyday transactions. And I'm not dismissing gold. Gold, of course, will be more important than ever as well. It would be for bigger transactions and for savings, I would say, even though you can still save in silver too. So here's a silver dollar, $1, and this is from 1889. So there you go. That's what you call a Morgan dollar. So that's a dollar. So enough of history. The other thing I would recommend you do, if you haven't yet, is read this book about money, and it's by Murray Rothbard. It's not like a a book that's just for university students or PhD economists. It's for everyone. So it's what has government done to our money. And I think this will really help you understand what's going on and the difference between currency and money. So, yeah, I subscribe to Yankee Stacking. I watch them regularly, not every day, I would say, but regularly. So the title is Dealer Reveals What Happens When Silver Hits 30, 40, or $100 an ounce. And I recommend you watch it. But basically what Tim said is that back in 1980 and also in 2011, it was very difficult to deal because it was very volatile. And he said a lot of people were coming in to sell their silver, and sometimes he didn't really want to buy it because he couldn't like offload it to the wholesalers or even to the refiners. So yes, I can understand what he means, and he's in business to make currency, fiat currency, and I think he's a very wise guy, has a lot of wisdom. One thing he's missing out, though, and I think we will, when we go to 100 and even higher, it will mean the collapse of the currency. So, yes, a lot of businesses like Tim's and others will probably close down because the currency will be useless. It's not silver that will be useless. And if you go to countries like Brazil or Venezuela, Zimbabwe, all the countries where we've had hyperinflation, it's really hard to find bullion dealers. And I think that's what could happen. So same thing could happen here in the UK. Definitely will happen here too. All it will mean is that the currency is basically on its last legs. And so what do you do in that situation? Well, as I've said, the reason I buy gold and silver and the reason I do it physically is not to make a fiat currency profit, but to have money when the system blows up. And that's what it will be. You will be exchanging directly for other goods and services, stuff like that. What about the bars? Well, those bars will be even more valuable. They won't be for exchanging everyday goods. They could be used to exchange for high value goods, and they could be for rare transactions once in a while, or who knows, you could exchange them for more coins. And how does that work? Well, by then people will be minting coins to circulate, and you will make like a seigniorage on the sale of your bar to whoever wants to mint the coins. It could be the government or it could be private mints. That's how I see it. Yes, the question you need to ask is, would you really want to get rid of your gold and silver when your currency is collapsing? And I understand that Tim looked back at 2011, 1980, and fiat dollar didn't collapse then, didn't collapse in 1980, didn't collapse in 2011. But I think with what's happening in the world, we've had 40 years for this mess to brew. And by mess, I mean society going crazy, where people from Canada, from North America, from everywhere want to move to Russia. And it's really crazy. If you had told people that 20, 25 years ago, they would have laughed at you. And I think, am I saying you should move to Russia? No, I think it's a symptom. I'm using that as an example, a symptom of the collapse of our society. And the last thing you want to do is get rid of your real money. Some of you might say that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and I get a lot of comments saying Bitcoin is not a cryptocurrency. Of course it is. It's encrypted. That they will become money. Well, we'll have to wait and see for that. My money is in gold and silver. That's how I see it. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I'm going to stick with 2,500 years of history. So, yeah, I recommend Yankee Stacking channel. It's a great channel. They get a lot of views. So there you go. Let's quickly look at the markets this morning. Today, I think we have the CPI in the US. Analysts, Wall Street analysts expect it to drop from 3.4% in December to 2.9%. That's a big drop. Of course, do we believe CPI? Yeah, I guess in a way we believe the statistic, but does it really measure how much the dollar is losing value and how much you can buy at the grocery store, or how much you need to do other things that you need to maintain your life, to live? I don't think so. And they tinker with it to make it look lower because they've brainwashed people into thinking that that's inflation. Back to the market. 8:34 a.m. London, we got gold at 2025. It's up $5. Silver's trading at 22.88. It's up 20 cents. The stock market is down slightly. It's down about 0.1%. That's the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P. The currencies are pretty much unchanged, except for the dollar. That's up 0.5% versus the Swiss franc at 88.06. And let's see, the dollar is up 0.2% versus the yen. It's fast approaching 150. Let's check the other currencies here. The Aussie dollar is down 0.2% at 65.15. The dollar is unchanged versus the Canadian dollar, and the Kiwi dollar is down 0.5%, 61.03. Let's quickly go through the commodities. WTI crude is up 0.4 at 77.11. Brent crude is up 1/3 at $82, and high-grade copper is up 0.5% at $3.76. Just quickly check the Treasury or bond market. The 10-year yield is up 1.5 basis point at 4.19. And I think, the data today, it comes out at 8:30 Eastern time, will be important for the markets, the CPI data. With that, though, I'm going to wish you all a very good day. Take care. Bye.